Let's look at the concept of aesthetics and how looking at a game's aesthetic can help us better understand how to create effective user experiences. Aesthetics is more than just looking at visual style. Aesthetic refers to all the elements which contribute to creating the overall user experience, as well as considering the individual user response. So in game terms, when we're talking about an aesthetic, we're looking at how users respond to the characters, setting, story and gameplay. All of these elements have been deliberately chosen by the game's developers to try and create a particular user experience for the players. In the same way drama, comedy or romantic movies appeal to different people, their individual aesthetics is why different games appeal to different people and why there are so many different game genres. The term aesthetic can also be used to refer to a well-known storytelling tradition. Western movies have an aesthetic, a similar set of characters, themes and storytelling techniques broadly shared across the genre. Viewers share this cultural experience of different genres. It's not static. Each new story adds to the tradition which develops and changes over time. Let's look at an example that uses aesthetic in both senses.
Wrong, Penguin. You'll all fly together.
Up the river, you birds of a filthy feather.
The 1960s TV show Batman has a distinct aesthetic, a particular style which makes up its unique appeal. It also clearly references the aesthetics of other genres in creating this experience. This aesthetic is built using several elements. Character costumes and sets use solid blocks of colour reminiscent of the art style of the cartoon strips on which it's based. This cartoon heritage is also used in the boom and pow graphics used in fight scenes, as well as the cheesy plot lines, unrealistic action and outlandish villains. The show's producers make use of the audience's shared understanding of the comic book aesthetic to help build the user experience they want. These elements all contribute to creating the unique aesthetic of the 1960s Batman, which is very different from the more gritty and realistic aesthetic of the modern Batman movies.
Never start with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy. He can't feel the neck. See?
You wanted me. Here I am.
So why do we want to analyse the work of others? Gaining an appreciation for how other developers have crafted user experiences aids our own understanding and can guide and inspire our own development. The art style is one of the most instantly recognisable features of any game and plays an important part in setting the style and mood of the user experience. The visual style of a game is constructed, and even seemingly realistic shooters like Call of Duty and Gears of War use a reduced colour palette heavy in greys and browns to create a gritty, hard-edged atmosphere. In contrast, multiplayer shooter Team Fortress 2 is colourful and cartoony. This gives the game a more light-hearted look and feel than its more realistic shooter cousins. This suits the casual and fast-paced playstyle of the game. Borderlands 2 uses a visual technique called cell shading, a non-photorealistic rendering which makes computer-generated graphics appear hand-drawn. This visual style harks back to the look of traditional 2D cell animation. Even very simple visual styles can be atmospheric. Puzzle platform game Limbo uses minimalist black and white visuals to set a stark, sombre and chilling mood. A sense of realism is an important part of the user experience aesthetic for Call of Duty. The games are all set in real-world locations, and the early games set in World War II fight through historically accurate battles. Weapons are modelled on their real-world counterparts, and each one functions differently. For example, the M1 Garand rifle is loaded with an 8-round clip and is difficult to reload unless you empty the weapon first. In modern multiplayer, players are given access to dozens of different weapons, and a key component of the gameplay is choosing weapons and constructing individualized character classes. Gameplay is rewarded with the unlocking of new weapons. In contrast, Battlefield 1942 simplifies weapons, and there is little to choose between them. In this way, the game emphasizes playability over realism, focusing on creating a fast-moving run-and-gun style gameplay. These choices are neither right or wrong, they just contribute to creating a different type of user experience. The term intertextuality means developers in one medium or storytelling style using elements from elsewhere. One example would be first-person shooters, which are influenced heavily by Hollywood action blockbusters.
Weapons free.
But it's a two-way street. Action movie fight sequences are increasingly looking like game boss fights, with slow-motion action and repetition of the action from different angles.
Stairs clear.
Zombies are another common game theme derived from movies. The action, characters and storytelling from slasher zombie flicks are faithfully used in many games. Even first-person shooter series Call of Duty features a special zombie mode. Lollipop Chainsaw from prolific offbeat Japanese developer Suda51 is a combination of elements drawn from zombie, teenage high school and chainsaw horror movies. The game also includes rock and roll themes, with each of the 5 zombie lords embodying an aspect of rock music. Games are a worldwide phenomenon, and game developers can draw on various cultural traditions for style, themes and storytelling techniques. Japan was a leader in video game development after 1983, and dominated the industry through the 1990s. Many popular game franchises show evidence of this distinctive cultural influence. The Japanese concept of kawaii or cuteness is reflected in the characters and gameplay of game franchises like Super Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, and the more recent Kirby titles. Cuteness is recognized as part of Japanese culture and national identity, and popular TV and game characters like Hello Kitty and Pokemon are reflected in clothing, fashion accessories, and other aspects of Japanese life. Manga and anime are also strong Japanese influences. Many Japanese game characters feature exaggerated facial features and exhibit the same innocent schoolgirl sexiness as the large-eyed characters in anime titles like Sailor Moon. This focus on young and beautiful characters reflects an ancient Japanese art tradition called bishonen, or beautiful boy. So, to recap, a game's aesthetic is the style, feel, or atmosphere it creates for the players. This response provoked from the players is created by deliberate choices by the developers about aspects including visual design, audio and music, realism, game setting, characters, and many more. The term aesthetic also refers to genres, and developers can tap into the audience's existing knowledge of other media like movies, books, and even cultural and popular culture themes when crafting a game. This allows them to borrow look and feel elements and use them in the game experience.